Pineapple Pizza Podcast discusses the histories, cultures, and beliefs of regions around the world.
These stories often contain mature and sometimes disturbing content that may not be suitable for all audiences.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Pineapple Pizza Podcast, where we serve up slices of mythology, cryptozoology, and urban legends. It's an interesting combination of flavors, weird, but it works. Today we have a visiting chef who will be serving up one of their favorites. I'm your hostess, Ashley, and with me today is the beautiful, the brilliant Emily.
Hey!
Hey! And we would like everyone to join us in welcoming our guest chef for this episode, Jay from the Salty Speculation Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Yay! Are we adding a haunted haggis onto that ingredients list today?
We sure can, because I'd love to.
Fantastic. I've wanted to use the excuse to use the words haunted haggis for ages. So there we go. It's getting added to your show.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am very excited to have Jay here because if you follow us on Instagram, you already know that we have the same weird-ass sense of humor. So this is going to be fun.
We say some horrendous shit to each other.
There have been times when I've sent Ashley a message being like, what is going on? Because I thought you guys were getting seriously nasty with each other. But that's just your humor.
I'm like, that's our relationship you don't understand.
I did not.
It's not even behind closed doors. We open all the windows, let everybody see.
Oh my gosh, that description's perfect.
I was about ready to jump into the ring for Ash there for a minute on Instagram. You want me to knock this guy down a peg?
No. I've got this. It's fine.
It's all said with love. All said with love.
It is, and we always have fun with it. And then I try to make you feel bad if you say something that's a little too mean.
Yeah, you do that all the time. And I've even had the conversation with people going, is it me? Am I the bad one? Am I the villain here? And when everyone tells me, yeah, you are, I go, no, can't be.
Oh, no, I'm just playing it brilliantly. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know. You play the game well, and then I'm sitting there having a psychological breakdown going, no, I was right.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to go ahead and do our little interview. As always, I added some fun questions that are specific to Jay and his show. So if anything that I'm about to say sounds really weird, let me assure you, you have no fucking idea.
I'm not worried at all. Yay!
It's okay. We always start light and then we move into the weird shit. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll let you know when I start seeing the end of the light.
All right. Well, we're going to start off easy. So tell us a little bit about your show. When did you and Nick start Salty Speculation? And what inspired you to create this podcast?
Okay. So we started the show back in, I want to say, mid-February of this year. Me and Nick have been friends for a long, long time, and then one day we got very, very drunk online, which is, to be honest, it's not exactly unheard of, but normally there's more of us. And we somehow started talking about true crime, oddly enough. And considering that's not a topic we normally actually cover on our show, which is why I always find this quite funny, we did true crime, and then we started talking about myths, and started talking about ghosts, and then cryptids, and everything else. And then I suddenly went, you know a lot about this. And he was like, I've researched this so much since I was a kid. And I was like, oh my God, me too. How have we never discussed this? And he's like, we're discussing it now. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we drank more. And for anyone who has listened to our show, you'll know Nick. He's very English and very, very, very dry. And that's how we play off each other. But it was actually his idea. He came out with I've always wanted to do a podcast. And funny, when we just discussed everything, I went, oh, what on? He went, I don't know.
I just want to do one. I don't care what it's about.
It's like, okay, then we'll do a podcast. And we were really deep for all of 15 seconds. where I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Bring information to the masses, because that's the kind of shit you say when you've had a lot of like beverages. And he was just like, maybe we could talk about things like men's mental health. I was like, yes, good. What do you mean we? I'm like, are we now doing a podcast? Is that what's happening? And he's like, maybe. And then we forgot about that initial idea that he just came out with, and I was like, ghosts. Ghosts and monsters and myths. And he was like, we need a name. And that was it. That was pretty much, the podcast was spawned the next morning.
So the logical step from men's mental health is ghosts and monsters. That's...
We figured that yes, that would be the best outcome. We thought if we talked about men's mental health, we would only get depressed ourselves.
Yeah.
And felt that, but you can't really get depressed talking about monsters. You can when it comes to things like possessions and that kind of thing. Depressed is maybe the wrong word, enraged maybe, but emotional, if you will. But it's a significantly more fun topic. And we've somehow managed to drag it close to nearly 30 episodes at this point.
Yeah, liquor logic might be the best logic, honestly.
Yeah.
It's true. That's true.
So that's where the podcast came from, essentially. And we recorded like 5 or 6 of them and then started releasing them all out. And now we're where we are now. And I make an arse out of myself on Instagram every week trying to promote it.
It's true.
I think you can relate, Ash.
Listen, am I over the top and am I on Instagram too much? I'm not going to deny either of those things because they're
I'm
obvious.
just going to full out say, yes, you are.
But you know what? I found out when we started this show, I always used to think all the good action was on Twitter, and it turns out it's not. All the good shit is on Instagram.
Yeah, it is Instagram, and oddly enough, like we barely use Twitter because we're terrible at it. We are so bad at it. But the biggest amount of interaction I've ever had on Twitter was, funnily enough, from you.
Yep.
When you tagged us in a thing, and Nick, because Nick technically handles the Twitter, and he was going, "What the hell is going on? Why is this happening?" And then I saw your name, and I went, "Just let it happen."
Just let it happen.
Just let it happen. I was like, I'll make a post about bananas. That's all you need at the time. And that's what I did. And he was so confused that he never touched it again.
Oh no, I scared Nick off of Twitter.
Yes, you did.
Damn.
Human interaction. What is this? I'm so British. I don't know how to handle it.
That is exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. He was like, no, I can't deal with the masses. He's like, no, I can't do this. I'm like, yeah, you can't deal with the masses. I put on a Spartan helmet and do stupid videos. What the hell are you complaining about?
Listen, Nick, if you're listening, I am sorry that I freaked you out with my weird Twitter interactions. Please come back.
Don't apologize to him. Like, he made his bed, he'll lie in it.
He chose Twitter. That was his option.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Whereas I'm like, even though I'm terrible at human interaction in real life, I'll just do all the social media and it'll be great.
This is accurate. She volunteered for this.
Yeah, literally the meme queen. So many memes. So many memes. I always know when I log in the morning, there's going to be a meme and I know who it's going to be from. It's just the way it goes.
I can't deny this. It's true.
I love the Wednesday Adams memes every Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
I love those. Those make me happy.
Well, if there's one thing that's definitely true about me, it's that I have a dark aesthetic, so that's just gonna keep happening, because she's perfection.
I'm surprised you haven't used any Daria memes yet.
I think I did use one, maybe not. I don't know, listen, we have like a disgusting number of posts considering we've only been on Instagram. Not that long. Okay, so back to the questions. We already kind of we talked about what kind of topics you guys cover. So when do new episodes come out?
Every episode comes out on a Monday. We just found that was the best release schedule. We used to do it on a Sunday, but as we decided to tell everyone, that is the Lord's Day, and we didn't want to take away from him.
In other words, you were drinking too much on Saturday night to finish editing the episodes for Sunday morning.
If that is what you took from that, you're absolutely correct, but it's not what I said. Ad Domino Padre, Spirito Santi, ad Domino's Pizza.
Oh, Emily. Gotta love Emily because she always knows about the subtext.
I mean, at the end of the day, I thought I had it very well.
Well, you know how we feel about the Lord on this show, so.
Yeah.
I think you know how I feel about him on ours.
Sorry, all the people downloading us still for some reason in Texas. We appreciate you. Even though I'm such a heathen.
They secretly like it.
I like to think so, but you never know. Okay, so this next one's kind of a long question, so bear with me for a second. So, it's sort of a two-parter. What's one episode of yours that you would recommend patrons of our pizzeria check out first? Or, what episode of your show is your favorite?
Right, so the one I would recommend the most, just because it really lets our personalities come through a lot, is the Flying Turtles versus Heart Attack Guns.
Yeah.
So it was quite funny with that episode, right? So that week we were very busy, very, very busy, and we had no topic for the show. But we didn't want to lose momentum. And Nick just went, weird news stories. How about that? We can find some of them and just talk about them. It's like, yeah, let's do it. And he came across that flying turtle coming through the windshield of the old woman's car. And I know you're sitting there looking all shocked as I say that, but you have to understand that the way that he told it.
It was so funny. I was crying.
Because he is so dry. It killed me. It absolutely killed me. And there is a bit where he goes, "Oh, and by the way, after this turtle came through the windshield and hit this woman on the head. This woman's like, 75 years old. So it's not as funny." But the way he said it, the second he said it's not as funny, I erupt into, that's me. I completely lost all composure for like the next 3 minutes, pissing myself laughing. And that just set the tone for that episode for the remainder of it. It was brilliant. I think there is actually a sound clip of that on our Instagram, where I turned that section into an audiogram, and it is literally just 45 seconds of me pissing myself from him introducing that story. So that's always the one that I would recommend. In terms of favourite, there's been quite a lot. I am a big fan of the one that we did that was called Jumping Jacks and Tasty Rats.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mostly, like, Nick's story was very, very good on that, and I won't spoil what his one was unless you want to go and listen. But I did tell the story that, again, if viewers aren't aware, listeners aren't aware in this case, I am Scottish, mostly because I come from Scotland.
Is that how that works?
I know, it's crazy. It's fantastic. But I told a story that's not really well known at all outside of Scotland. And it's an urban legend that has been around for nearly 4 decades. And about 6 or 7 years ago, it came out that the legend was actually true. And it was a story about the Catman of Greenock. And it was very good to not only tell that story and give it some publicity, but also shit on Greenock, because it's a shithole, don't ever go. But also to tell a story which ends up with some truth behind it. So,
yeah, that was the first episode that I listened to. That one is really freaking good. I also really love the one about the stupid pirates.
Worst pirates ever. Yeah, we had this idea in our head because Nick loves pirates, I love pirates. Nick, I will say, though, prefers cowboys because he considers himself a cowboy, hence why I call him Mad Dog McCree. It was the most cowboy name I could give him. McCree is not his name, in case anyone's wondering. It's not. But that is the moniker he's been given. And we were, right, we love pirates, let's do this. See, by the end of the research of that episode, we hated pirates. We hated them. They are not nearly as cool as you think.
Yeah.
And then as we're reading into it, we were like, so let's change the subject then. Instead of pirate myths, let's just go for shit pirates. And then I kept thinking, well, there's about 1 million of them to choose from. And he was like, I know, there's your source material. I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a really good episode. And if memory serves, Nick changes the words to the Spongebob theme song at the beginning, so...
Right, so I didn't know he was going to do that. Normally, the intros will start, and we switch intros every week. Mine are normally a bit more energetic, if you will. I always have my own little catchphrase that I start off the episodes with. And I'll tend to go into a spiel of some sort to introduce the episode and Nick. Nick, however, normally will just go, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Salty Speculation. Today we're talking about cryptids. And that's it. And then he'll introduce me and then we'll get into it. But that day, he was just on the mic and then he went, excuse me, right, right, 3, 2, 1, erupted into that song. And then just introduced me at the end of it, and I couldn't say anything. I was in stitches. Where the hell has this been for 20 weeks? But no, it's definitely my favourite Nick intro to date.
Yeah, that was a good one for sure. And then their most recent episode was about the devil. Well, the devil
Juicy
and
Lucy
demons.
Lucifer.
The devil and demons, to be fair. There were a lot of demons.
Yeah, so you'll find this. When we set a theme for an episode, we want to stick to the theme, but we get sidetracked, and in this instance, should have been stories about the devil. What it actually was maybe one story about the devil, a couple of stories about some demons, and an old man filling up a water jug with some magical water. Absolutely nothing to do with demons or the devil. It was just a story, and I threw it in there. So, yeah, take from that what you will.
That's okay. We also decided that I am Lucifer's favorite human. So.
Mm-hmm. It was never even a contest. Never even a contest.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this next question's really tough. Are you ready?
No. Continue.
Too bad. What is your favorite pizza topping and why?
Oh.
There is a right answer to this.
Right, so I am gonna say, oh God, you've done me in here. I mean, I'm a meat eater. Meat is the best. So just meat, just drop all the meat. In fact, do you know what? If I could deep fry a cow, I just put it on a bit of flatbread with some cheese and tomato ketchup. There we go. There's a pizza. So my answer would be deep fried cow.
So Jay just wants to be hit in the face with all the meat. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
He wants all the meat in his mouth.
Yep. I don't even care how it sounds. I'm wide open.
Oh my God.
Don't you dare judge me for this, Nick. Don't you dare.
Wait, what's the right answer if there is one? Because you're not going to say it's don't you dare try to say that it's pineapple.
I wasn't going to go for the obvious one.
Emily, I believe there's audio of you admitting you don't like pineapple on pizza.
Oh, conspiracy.
No. That's a falsehood.
I can produce
I've
it.
never
right.
tried it. I've never tried it on pizza.
You're on a podcast called the Pineapple Pizza Podcast. You've never tried pineapple on a pizza.
To be fair, our name came from our love of the TV show Psych.
I love Psych, but...
And how they have pineapple in every episode.
It came from the fact that we're fucking weird.
Yes, that's true.
In all fairness, I absolutely adore that that's where the name came from, but I am completely shocked you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Like, completely shocked. You're sitting there trying to look innocent, and I'm just sitting there thinking, disgust.
There's a right answer, and I still didn't even get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was very suspicious because I know the truth.
I know the truth.
You had to out me. Thank you. Just straight up threw me under the bus here.
Okay, did I really out you if there's already an episode of Dumb Found Dead where you've already said this?
I love how you can pinpoint the episode in which it was said.
Yeah, that I wasn't there that day. That's why I vividly know about it. I was too busy to come on, so Lindsay and Emily went on without me.
And I went on after drinking a little bit of sangria, so that was a rowdy episode.
You guys, you have clearly stored this to bring this up at just the right moment. And I am so glad I was here to witness it. I really am.
Oh my god.
You thought this question was going to be difficult for me.
Here I am on the hot seat.
Exactly.
All right, next question. How strong is the salty Spartan's armor?
Oh, well, it's impenetrable by conventional weapons and mythical. There is nothing that can defeat the salty Spartan.
Except for meat.
Apart from meat. Apart from that is his one weakness. Throw some meat at him, he'll be distracted for hours. But still, the meat's not going to... I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to. It's not my show. Who cares? The meat will not penetrate his armor, is all I'm going to say. But he might let it. He might. You never know. Depends on his mood. But yeah.
I can't breathe.
Just chuck deep fried turkey legs at him until he stops.
Deep fried turkey legs.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that might be the favorite answer we've ever gotten.
He'll be most impressed. He'll be most impressed that you asked about him. That's no one ever asked about Salty, so that's very nice. Very nice. I'll let him know.
All right. Will Nick eventually sing enough songs to rival the musical shenanigans on this show?
Possibly.
I hope so.
He is singing a lot more. I have no idea why. He never used to, but now he is, and it's amazing. So maybe we'll do like a Salty Speculation cover album at some point where it's just Nick singing different songs in the style of James Hetfield.
Nick, please do it.
Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, buddy, I want that more than anything, so do it.
It's very important to me, even though I don't know you. Please do.
It's all right. No one knows Nick. He doesn't speak to anybody.
That's okay, because in real life, neither do I.
The face you made.
It's true. I don't like people very much.
I do have a funny story for you, because it's like, he doesn't. You don't know what he looks like, which makes it even funnier. But
yes.
we very recently went to a costume party. In a lovely little place in the east of England, and we all met. All our friends were there. We went and got horrendously drunk, and of course, I decided the day before that I was going to this thing, so didn't really have a costume in mind. But of course, I do have a Spartan helmet, so just went with a Spartan helmet on, and that was it. Nick had spent a long time organising his costume for this thing, and he eventually shows up. They go to get dressed, and him and his partner had come dressed as Hawkeye and Black Widow. She looked great, absolutely fantastic, and he looked like Hawkeye if he was an accountant with a tiny little child's bow and arrow. And I love it. I absolutely love it, because he had the whole Hawkeye garb on, but from a distance you'd never think Hawkeye. You just think, what are you? And I gave him shit about it all night, but they did look good. They did look good. But there's this photo of him and his partner standing together where they're doing the Marvel poses, and every time I look at it, I piss myself laughing. I'm just like, you're trying to be all intimidating with a bow and arrow, and it's very clear that it says 3 and up on the side of it.
So he looks like a fully clothed adult Cupid.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but with the arms ripped off, just like so, it's just bare arm, and he's stick thin as well. He's so I could use him as a toothpick, right? And it's just like, there's just nothing intimidating in that photo at all.
So does she actually use him as the arrows in the bow?
That would have been more intimidating than what he was currently putting in the bow. Yeah. So.
Oh my my god.
He's going to hate me for telling that story. I don't care.
Oh my god, shots fired.
This is what happens when he leaves me unsupervised.
Oh my god. Okay. Why don't more people know the true story about Steve, the guy who single-handedly caused Brexit?
I'll be honest with you, because I don't know the full story. I heard it in a pub one night in passing, and then passed that information on to Nick. That's pretty much how that went. I wish I'd stayed to figure out more, but Brexit's done now. There's nothing I can do to stop it. Steve.
Damn you, Steve.
It was amazing, though, when I brought that up as a joke to Nick, and I said, this is basically what I'm going to say in my intro, just go with it. And he went, oh, you've chose that one about Brexit. I went, what do you mean that one about Brexit? And he went, oh, about how the whole Brexit thing could be traced back to one guy called, I'm pretty sure it's Steve. I'm going, what? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I said, I've just made this up. I said, I've literally just made this up for my intro. So we then took 20 minutes whilst Nick went and was like, no, it's definitely a thing. We eventually found the thing that he was talking about. It couldn't be further from the truth. There is a connection to some guy who might possibly have been the sole starter of Brexit. His name's not Steve, Mohammed. It's like, how do you even get those two confused? 20 minutes that took. That completely delayed our recording.
I think probably drinking would be the answer for how you get those things confused.
Yeah, but you're normally a bit more efficient than that. Like, that really proved that we're not.
Oh my god. Alright, this next one is my favorite.
Uh-oh.
If you were going to make a deal with the devil, what would Lucifer need to promise you to get your soul?
Oh, yeah, you know the usual. World peace. You know, cure for all disease. And a really, really big sandwich. But we're like talking big sandwich here, though, not like, you know, just like slightly above average. We're talking one the size of like New York. This just for me. You will notice that I didn't put world hunger in there because I don't care. This sandwich is for me. But yeah, end of disease and all that sort of stuff. You know, the good guy things. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm selling my soul, fix the world, get a really, really big sandwich out of it. I mean, I'm a simple man with simple pleasures. You know, I have a decent enough job. You know, I get through life okay. Just want a big sandwich.
What meats would you include on that sandwich? Because that's
all of them,
question.
Even the rarest of the rarest of animals.
Every meat.
I want emu on it. I want kangaroo on it. You know those gorgeous little birds, the little robin redbreast. Yeah, that's a topping. Get it on there, extra crunch. Everything, just everything. I draw the line at human. I'm not a fan, but everything else is fair game.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
I mean, if I gave you what you were expecting, then that's completely pointless, isn't it?
Okay, but since Nick's not here, you have to answer for him too.
Same answer, but 2 sandwiches.
2 sandwiches.
So, like, I'd have one that was like the size of New York. He would have the New York one as well, and probably one that was the size of, I don't know, the ocean. Like the whole thing, just together. Maybe add some meat to his bones if that was the way. Actually, do you know what? That is just me being an arse. I know he'd sell his soul to be an actual, genuine, real cowboy. Like, to be sent back. He knows that if he was a cowboy back in the days of cowboys, it would be rough living, and it's not as glamorous as it sounds. We've had this conversation a million times, but that doesn't stop him wanting it.
So, as a fan of the paranormal and supernatural, but also a fan of cowboys, does he love the movie Cowboys vs. Aliens or whatever it is?
Oddly enough, I don't think he's seen it.
What?
Yeah, he's not very big on things.
Things?
Yeah, it's just he likes the podcast. He likes weird shit to read into. I'm assuming he likes his partner. And then
we hope.
And video games. That's about it. Like he's too dry to look into those weird things you're mentioning.
Oh my god, I love that so much. He's gonna trade his soul to be a real cowboy.
He would. He genuinely would. He would change his name to Nick the Mad Dog McCree, and he would become a cowboy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, go to bed. Have you ever wondered who would win in a fight between a Mustang and a dinosaur?
Have the Black-Eyed Peas been knocking at your door?
Is the flying space rave keeping you up at night?
And why does everything have red eyes? And who the hell is Tommy Wiseau?
All this and more on the Salty Speculation podcast.
And I'm Nick. I'm the one that does all the work.
I'm Jay. As a Scotsman, I cover the cultural diversity aspect of the show.
New episodes every week.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at the Salty Speculation Podcast.
All right, so the last question is a super easy one. Why don't you tell us what special story you've selected to serve up today and why you chose it?
Right, so the special story that I have doesn't really have a name, mostly because it's my own that I've decided to tell. We are going into the land of the haunted, possibly. Not sure. It could be haunted. It could be something else. It could just be a drunken memory. Who knows? But at the end of the day, this is a story that happened to me about over a decade ago that I'm still looking for the answer for. And I have told the story on our own show, but it was our very first episode and the audio quality was terrible. So I'm going to do it again on a different show. But I have also, since started this show, I have brought this story to several different experts, shall we say, in the field, you know, who claim to know all about your ghosties and all about your cryptids and, oh, we'll tell you what it is. None of them know. None of them. And I find that very disappointing. So what I'm hoping is by telling you guys, I know you two aren't going to know. I mean, you'll just be sitting there going, what? But maybe one of your listeners might know. Maybe they'll tell you. Then you would do the nice thing and tell me. And then I can put this story to bed.
You're assuming that we're going to be nice and pass that information along.
Shit. Well, that's my plan blown. But that's what I'm going to be telling you today anyway.
I'm so excited for this. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm not. I'm so fucking excited.
Well, if that's all your questions done, I will start the story if that's what you wish. Or if there's more interrogation, like a podcast Gestapo, I'm all ears.
I'm German, so thanks for that.
Well, who isn't?
Who isn't German?
Who isn't? There are many.
All those Germans coming over here taking our podcast. That's the way it goes.
Oh my god. Well, I have a new title now, apparently. So, since that puts me in the authority position, start the story.
Certainly, Herr Commandant. No, so essentially, I would have been, at the time, I would have just turned 17, so we're looking a good 13 years ago at this point, 13, 14 years ago. And at the time, I lived in southwest England, a very lovely little place just outside London called Windsor, which you might have heard of because of the famous Windsor Castle.
The what?
The Windsor Castle.
I'm just kidding.
The second home of the Queen.
Just kidding.
Excellent royal real estate. It's a gorgeous place. As it was my birthday, a few of my friends had met up and we went to this Chinese restaurant in Windsor. And the main reason that we went to it, even though it was incredibly expensive, was because they didn't understand the concept of asking for identification. So if you were underage, it was fine. They'd still sell you beer. I believe that place has been closed down for a good few years now. Can't imagine why.
Yeah, me neither. That's really suspicious.
So it was always funny because we always, even though we knew that they wouldn't ideas, we would always go in and order like ridiculous things, even though we just wanted chips and beer. So it would be like, how is the lemon chicken this evening? And just stare at this poor guy. And he'd be like, it's fine. He's like, yes. And the duck l'orange? How is that? Is it prepared well? And bring me vodka. All of it. So that's
all the vodka.
It's just like, instead of lemon, can you just pour vodka on the chicken? Thank you. So we went there and we had a few drinks. But again, you know, you're 17. Windsor's a very expensive place. That restaurant was a very expensive place. We didn't really have a lot of money to get, like, hammered. So I'd consider myself maybe even a bit tipsy by the end of it. Like, no slurring of words, no nothing. Just a nice little glow. And the reason I bring that up is because anytime someone hears this story, they turn around and go, "Oh, but you were drinking that night, that could be the reason." No. I'm Scottish. I'm 98% alcohol. That ain't going to do nothing to me. So...
Yeah, I would like to point out that the amount of alcohol that would make you slightly tipsy would make me blacked out. So.
I went to a nightclub in Birmingham down south last week for a work night out, and consumed in total 3 bottles of rum, and wasn't fazed by it. I was up till 7 o'clock in the morning, and then got back to the hotel, and then realised that checkout was at 10 a.m. which wasn't a great scenario. but yeah, I was barely wobbling.
I feel bad when I have like half a bottle of wine in one night.
God, I wish I was you. Nights, it would be so cheap. But no, it's always expensive. But that's the point of that anyway. So what we did was that we sort of walked around town for a little bit, and they'd given me my birthday presents and stuff, which again, being 17-year-olds, not much money. It was just cigarettes, which was great. Everybody gave me cigarettes because they all knew me very well. And then we just sort of decided when it got to about midnight, 1 o'clock-ish, that we would just like go our separate ways. Now, most of our friends lived in Windsor. One of our friends lived a little bit further away in Slough, so they had to get the last train to get there. I didn't live in Windsor town centre. I lived about 3 miles out in a little village called Datchet.
Wait, what?
Datchet.
Oh, I heard batshit.
Yeah, batshit crazy Datchet.
Who named this town?
Yeah, I know. Datchet is a ye old English town. It's not even a town. I wouldn't even class it as a village. It's more like a hamlet. And essentially, it's maybe 2 or 3 streets with an old railroad going through it, surrounded by fields and the River Thames. Again, for anyone who's heard this story, it is pronounced the River Thames, not Thames. God damn Americans. So what had happened was, because it was only 3 miles out, I didn't really want to spend the money on a taxi because I'm a cheapskate. I was like, we can do 3 miles. We're not drunk. We'll be fine. And my friend was staying with me that night. And we went, yeah, cool. So we started walking, and it's pitch black between Windsor and Datchet. There is like maybe 2 street lights the entire way. So you're literally just walking into darkness and field, following a road that goes over a bridge that goes over the Thames. And there is a shortcut that you can take when you get to the bridge, where rather than continue walking on the actual road, you can go off the path and go into this like secluded wooded area, which goes along the path of the Thames. And I will say that during the day, it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous because you have the sun bouncing off the Thames, which is a little more than 2 feet away from you at the time. Normally, you get swans coming up and down the river as well. It's absolutely like picturesque. It's beautiful. And then when it's during the summer and it's all green and leafy, you'd never expect a better spot. At night time, though, there ain't no light, and it's fucking terrifying, to say the least. But because we knew the roads and we've walked it so many times, there's like no issue. So me and my friend's name was Dan, decided we'll take the shortcut and we'll walk through this thing. And we're walking for about maybe 10 minutes at this point. We've maybe covered about 1.5 miles, because you're sort of weaving in and out of trees and stuff, so you're watching your feet.
You covered 1.5 miles in 10 minutes? That's impressive.
We're walkers. That's just the way it goes.
Kidding.
And we're bolting through this thing. And
yeah,
then,
well, she's comparing that to like American walking. We'd be like 5. We'd be like 5 feet.
You live in a country that's not designed to walk in.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you don't have a car or a bus pass, you're screwed. So that's just the way it goes. But we like to walk places because Mother Nature and all that stuff. It's very nice. And then I ruin it by smoking. So it's all good.
That is true. You do ruin it by smoking. You should really stop doing that.
Yeah. It's my fault. I'm the reason for the hole in the ozone layer. I always will be. I'll take that with me to my grave. So what had happened was we were walking through, and it was weird. Like, it was a weird atmosphere, weirder than normal if you were walking through a dark wooded area at night. One of the things was there was no wind, which for England is odd, because it was already odd enough that it wasn't raining. Right? But now there's no wind, no nothing. So that was a bit strange. But there was also, other than the noise of the leaves underneath the feet, wasn't any noise. Now, we're quite close to a motorway there, or a highway to you American Yankees. But you'd hear that at all hours of the night because it connects onto an airport. Arguably England's biggest airport, Heathrow Airport. So there's always cars going back and forth, and that motorway's maybe 4 miles away. So with no wind and no anything, you could still hear the traffic and the ambient noise coming from that. Nothing. It was like we were in a sound barrier. It was weird. And then, as we're talking, as you do, as we're just walking forward, suddenly Dan just stops moving entirely. And I'm still staring at him as I'm walking, and I'm like, what's up? Right? And he's just pointed up and he's went, what the hell's that?
Oh.
And I've looked up, and there was just something in the middle of the path, maybe 10 feet in front of us. All right? There isn't anything that could be in that path, like a tree or something that could be blocking it. We know this path. The path is designed to wind round the trees. But there was something standing in the middle of the pathway that we couldn't see through. All I know is that it was jet black, but didn't feel like, well, I say feel, it's not like I ran up and touched it, but it didn't look solid. But at the same time, you couldn't see through it. I don't want to say it was like smoky, but that's about as close as I'm going to get to it, except it's jet black, almost ethereal, if you will. And it was huge. When I say huge, we're looking at the time probably about 15 feet tall.
Jesus.
Yeah, which is what made him go, ah. That was the actual noise that he made. So I'm looking at this thing going, I have no idea what the hell this is. But I was just frozen to the spot. And when I tried to describe the shape of it, it was like, think of it from the top. Rather than having a head, it has a point, like a point of a triangle. All right? Coming down and then making some sort of body-esque shape, but then eventually sort of descends as if it's sort of forming wings. Yeah, it's weird. It's very, very, very weird. And then just as it gets down to where you'd think like the waist of a body would be or whatever, it's now just a big black mass of shadow and smoke. So I stared at this thing for about 5 minutes. Felt like a lifetime at the time. And when I'm staring at it, it turned around.
Oh my god.
Ew.
Slowly, but turned around. Dan just yells, run, and off he goes. Now, I will say that Dan is incredibly more fitter than I was, and he ran full speed all the way back to the stairway that goes up to the bridge. And I'm running after him, and I'm dying. I'm absolutely dying as we're doing this running, because I've smoked many cigarettes that night. I was not expecting to have to run 1.5 miles back to the stairwell. And then we get towards the bottom of the stairs. I'm out of breath, or out of puff, as I would say. And I'm like, right, okay, what the hell was that? And Dan's going, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Should we just walk on the road? It's like, yeah, no problem. Climbed up the stairs, realised that the stairs were too much for us after all the running.
Oh my god.
And we sat down we basically sat under the bridge because it has a light, an actual light post on it.
Okay.
So, because the bridge was illuminated, you know that old thing of like thinking of when you're a kid, while the lights are on, you're safe?
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
like, we both felt that, but we didn't say it out loud, because, you know, men! Whoa. And,
That
so
noise.
exactly, hoorah! So we sat down on the bridge and had a cigarette. And he's looking at me going, what was it? Seriously, was it a tree? What? And I was like, I don't think it was a tree, but tell you what it was. I said, I know it moved. I said, it could have been the wind. And then I remember these words to the end of my days. What fucking wind? I went, okay, good point, okay. I said, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was like someone had like left a flag or something, like a big black flag just hanging from a tree, and mind was playing tricks on us because of the night or whatever. No idea. Haven't a clue. Not a Scooby. So he asked me for my lighter, so I go into my pocket to get my lighter, and I throw it over to him, and so he can light his cigarette whilst he's sitting there. And it's just as I threw the lighter at him, but I can see down the bottom of the stairs. And there it is. It's at the bottom of the stairs again, perfectly lit up, because you can now see it from the lamppost, still incredibly jet black, still can't tell if it's solid, and now blocking my view of the river, whereas 2 seconds ago it wasn't, because I could see the river clearly with the light bouncing off it. And there it was, just standing at the bottom of the stairs, getting taller and taller. And I grabbed him and went, run. And we did. And we ran because there it was. And it followed us 1.5 miles. So we ran all the way down this road until we got to the sign that said, welcome to Datchet. And it's one of those, civilization, you're safe now. It can't touch you. Thinking that you're, surrounded by people, it can't possibly get you. Stopped for a breather, turned around. It is a straight road. And when we turned around, we could see the 2 odd miles that we just ran. It was still standing. It was now standing on the bridge, 2 miles away. Taller than the street light.
Oh my God.
So it was in the middle of the bridge, taller than the street light, just staring at us. And I freaked the hell out. There was something about that scene in my head I just couldn't deal with at the time. And it was like, need to get home. Just need to get home. I can't deal with this. He couldn't deal with it either. We got home, got in the door. He went to the couch, fell asleep on the couch. I went to my bedroom, fell asleep, and that was it.
How do you sleep after that?
Morning, head's a little bit clearer. And I tried to talk to him about it, about what we said. He would not talk to me about it. He refused. He never slept a wink that night. He just couldn't stop thinking about what he'd say. So he went home. Not a problem. I wasn't like I was keeping him there or anything. And then about maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, when we met up, and I tried to speak to him about it, and he wouldn't. He just still wouldn't. I was like, okay, no problem. And then as more time had gone by, I tried to bring it up a few more times, because I'm a dick. Clearly doesn't want to talk about it, but I do. So
well, there was only one other person there.
Exactly. But every time I tried to bring it up with him, he would get noticeably upset, to the point where one day when I brought it up, he actually argued with me. He was angry with me for bringing it up. He didn't want to talk about it. He never wanted to think about it again. And so I never brought it up to him again. And then, what it's like. You go through life and friends lose contact and that sort of thing. And that's unfortunately what happened with me and him. But yeah, so that's the thing that we saw that night. We can't tell. I can't tell you if it was a ghost or something, or if it was a spirit or a demon or a monster or some sort of cryptid, or, just a really, really tall, drunken homeless man called Bill. Who knows? But I've never had an answer for it, ever. It's the scariest thing I've ever witnessed, like, by far. It's one of the only things that I've ever witnessed that I can't give an explanation to, like no feasible explanation. Anytime I think I have something that makes sense, it's just wishful thinking, if you will. Then 5 minutes later, I can figure out why it doesn't make sense, and then I'm back to the drawing board on it. So that is the creature that I saw, or ghost, or whatever.
So he never fell asleep the whole night. Did you sleep?
Oh yeah, but I'll sleep like a baby. Like, nothing worries me too long.
Oh my God, how is that even remotely possible? I'd never sleep again.
I mean, you gotta think, like, in distance covered, if we were getting from point A to point B, we did 3 miles. But when you talk about all the distance, including the running and everything, we ran closer to 100. I was tired. I was tired. I wanted to sleep.
Yeah, and maybe you were coming back down from, like, the adrenaline of being scared, too, because, like, you probably felt pretty wiped out after that wore off.
Yeah, I think I was more drained from confusion. Like, it's, like, adrenaline was definitely a thing. That's the only reason that I could have ran back to the bridge.
I feel that.
Without that. Yeah, without the adrenaline, whatever that thing is, it would have eaten me, and I know that, and I fully accept that. But it was when we got back to the village itself, when we got to the borderline of it, and the confusion set in, and I couldn't process what I saw. That entire walk back to my house from there, and then getting into bed and everything else, and trying to process it in my head, just drains you. And I think that's why I slept so well that night. But I still didn't get any closer to an answer. And I did bring it up a few times to more people who lived in the area. And the more I told it, the more I was coming off as like a madman. I'd seen something. So I just stopped talking about it. And then, but yeah, as the years have went on, I've been more and more curious. And people always do ask me, have you ever been back? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's the wooded walkway. You know, that's how I would walk to Windsor. So I'm pretty sure I was back that same week walking through it, granted during the day, but there was times where the adventurer in me, if you would, got the better of me. And I went back at night. I went back to the same spot that I originally saw it in, looked at it from different angles. There was definitely something there because of where I'm standing now, I can see perfectly. So it wasn't a tree. They didn't just randomly cut down arguably the biggest tree in the woods at some point. I stood at all different places. I sat there. I even at one point, not proud of this because this is the bit that makes you come off as crazy, I did just sort of like go there in the middle of the night when it was pitch black, standing there and basically asking whatever's there to show itself. Like, maybe I was shouting it a little bit louder than the average British person, but you know, I have a naturally loud voice, and nothing ever presented itself to me. I will state for the record, though, I have been back on nights where the weather's been great, like ideal. No wind, no nothing, which is, you know, one night out of the year for Britain. And even though there was no wind, when I was in that section of the woods, I could hear everything around me. I could hear the water rushing from the river. I could hear the motorway, like I said before. I could hear everything. But that night, other than what was crunching under our feet, you couldn't hear anything. So something weird was going on. It's almost like we stepped into something that we shouldn't have. And then something chased us. And then chased us to the entrance of whatever we'd stepped into. I have no idea what caused it. But anytime I've been back since, like, sound's been down, like you could hear things, haven't seen anything again, no explanation for it.
Did you accidentally step into the upside down?
I knew you were going to say the upside down, because that's also what I was thinking, Emily. It does kind of sound like the upside down from fucking Stranger Things.
Yeah, but I'm cooler than those kids, so that's fine. I had alcohol.
You had alcohol? Oh my god.
Alcohol and many cigarettes. Yeah. Come at me, Netflix.
They'd have to put that warning on you that says smoking.
Yeah, like gratuitous smoking.
Yes. Prior warning. The character known as Jay is not actually pixelated. It's just there's always smoke floating above his face.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that is my story of the thing that chased us through an entire wooded walkway.
That's crazy.
And yeah, so what do you think it could be?
Do you have any thoughts, Ash?
You know a lot more about this stuff than I do. I have no idea, but I will tell you that I 100%, like, as soon as you said that there was no sound, like, even coming from the highway, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fucking bad, and it was.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's weird to explain. I've never had any person tell me that they've seen something similar, and it confuses me every time. I can only hear one of you, by the way.
I thought you might not be able to hear me.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, because her internet cut out like a couple of times, so...
Yeah, but you're responding to her, and I can't hear her.
Well, no loss for him, I suppose.
Oh my gosh, stop it, Emily.
What? I can't hear her, and she's saying things.
She said it's no loss for him.
That's so harsh. That's so harsh.
Now, everyone knows that you're like the pretty smart one. I'm just the dumb one. I'm just kidding. I'm the smart one. I'm just kidding. You're also very smart and you're good at science, and I love you. And I'm bad at science.
You are very smart and good at science. Nick, that's the same way I feel about you, buddy. You're very smart and good at numbers.
Oh my gosh. I just don't want everyone to think I'm like a total bitch because they don't know how our interactions are.
No, I love you.
It's absolutely fine. People think that I'm a complete wanker, and that's because I act like one. I'm lovely behind the scenes.
No, actually, secret story, and I'm not going to tell you what we talk about, but sometimes Jay and I have very nice conversations on Instagram too. You guys just don't see it because that's private.
We did that once, I think.
No. We've done that a couple of times. Don't lie to people.
In all fairness, for all the bitchy things I say and the stupid things I say, every now and then, and you'll say this yourself, if I find a meme that I think you'll find funny or I think will make you laugh, I do send you the meme. Yeah. I'll give no explanation as to why, but I'll send it to you.
I don't want to out you, but Jay is secretly kind of a softie, so...
That's a complete and utter bald-faced lie. Lies, I say. Lies.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, thank you so much for that story. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while and trying to figure out what the hell that thing was.
Yeah, we're going on 14 years for me, so see if you can figure it out in the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, I don't have that high of an opinion of my ability to solve mysteries, but I wish that I could help.
Well, hopefully one day, someday, we'll have seen something similar. But again, mystery goes on. I've told it on our own show. I've written it out for other paranormal experts, and these experts have really let me down. Surprise, surprise. So God knows. Maybe I'll never get an answer, and it will annoy me until the end of my days.
Yeah, I understand that. I always want to know things that I shouldn't want to know. I should just let it go. But I can't do it. All right, everyone. Before we close up our pizzeria today, I want to share with you a review that one of our lovely patrons left for us. This one is from a user called Disappointed0990, and the review is titled Grab a Slice. They wrote, "Great stories told by friends, the banter is hilarious, the subjects are entertaining, and it's an overall great listen. Thank you so much. We're glad that you weren't disappointed with us." That was like a dumb joke. Question mark. Well, I mean, it didn't sound like you were. It sounded like you liked us. All right, and we also want to give a very special thank you to Jay for joining us and being our guest chef. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you for having me on. There's genuinely no thanks necessary. The second you sent me the invite, of course, I was going to say yes to it. So I can only thank you very much for letting me come on, tell this absolutely ridiculous story, and apparently spend 15 minutes beforehand shitting on you guys, which wasn't the intention. I was trying to be nice.
Oh, no, we love you. It's fine. You don't have to... We say things to each other you don't even know behind the scenes, and then we're like, I joke because I love you so much. But it's okay. Why don't you tell all of our guests where they can find you and your show, The Salty Speculation, if they're interested in hearing more, which they definitely should be.
You can find us on pretty much every podcasting platform, from your Spotify's to your Apples and your Anchors, and we are kind of on YouTube, but we're not really because it takes too much time. I think we've got like 3 audio clips on there, though. Go give them a listen. That's always nice. That'd make Nick happy. In terms of social media, though, we are on Twitter. We don't know how to use it. Please don't expect a lot. But on Instagram, the Salty Spartan shines. So pop over to our Instagram, which is at The Salty Speculation, and give us a wee hello. That would always be grand.
Yeah, you should definitely do that, and then you can look at the comments on all of our posts.
Basically, if you want to find me anywhere, go on to any of their Instagram posts, and I'll be the fucked up comment on one of them. You'll find us easily.
Accurate.
Oh my god. So true. All right, well, I think it's about time to close up the restaurant for the night. Thank you for visiting our beautiful pizzeria and enjoying a slice of haunted haggis. I'll just stick with Jay's word.
Get it in. Do I get to keep? Do I get to keep the tips, or are we sharing? Because
You get to keep them because you were the special guest for the evening. So
excellent.
All the credit is yours.
I like money.
Who doesn't? Pineapple Pizza Podcast, sweet and cheesy. Not everyone understands our awesomeness, but we're glad that you do? ?
If you're enjoying the show and you'd like to help support us, check out our TeePublic shop for some amazingly fun and funny merch.
Or if you want to do a one-time donation, you can do that on buymeacoffee.com and buy us a fresh slice, because we can never get enough.
Of basically anything, if we're being honest.
If you absolutely love the show and you want to check out some fantastic bonus content, you can become a donor on Patreon and earn all kinds of amazing benefits. We have 3 tiers to accommodate almost any budget.
The $3 Mythbuster, $7 Cryptid Hunter, and $15 Storyteller.
Become a patron today and start enjoying all the perks and extra content right away.
Don't forget, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at PineApp.PizzaPod. That's PineApp, A-P-P, Pizza Pod.
You can also send us questions, comments, and topic ideas at pineapp.pizzapod@gmail.com. Remember, there's the 2 P's in app. Otherwise, you're emailing someone else, and I don't want to be held responsible for that.
Thanks for stopping in for some deliciously weird morsels, and just remember, no matter how you slice it,
you're awesome.
And we love you.